When our routines are ineffective for who we are and for the nuances in our own individual lives, then we're in this pattern where we're doing things that don't work for us, and then we end up getting stuck and can't get to what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Welcome back, my friends, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Christy, and I make content centered around realizing no matter where we are in life, no matter our age, we are just on time to live the life of our dreams. And right now, we are in the middle of a 7-week reset where we are getting every part of our lives ready for the new year. If this is your first video, no worries at all. You can just jump right in and you can go back and revisit the topics that we have done in the past. There are resources that you can use toward making 2024 your best year yet. Today, we're talking all about routines, why they're important, and how to build good ones for our lives. So here's the deal. We already have routines. People like to overcomplicate it, but the actuality is that we already have things that we're doing on a daily and on a weekly basis. Now the goal is to look at what it is that we're doing and see how it's working for us and tweak those areas where it's not. First, let's talk about why routines are important. Having routines is a way, and actually a really big part, of how we become the main character in our lives. It helps us to be more confident in ourselves, and it helps us to be more productive because we see that we are accomplishing the things that we have set out to do. It's a way to build self-discipline and keep the commitments and promises that we've made to ourselves. And finally, if we do it right, it's a way to prioritize taking care of ourselves, because we're not just prioritizing other people's needs. We're not just prioritizing the things that we have to do for other people, but we're also prioritizing the things that we need to do for ourselves. When I'm on it, like taking care of myself, checking off my to-do list, doing the things that I say I want to do, baby, you can't tell me nothing, because I feel the effects of living the life that I want to live. Even if I may not have all of the aspects of it, I am actively working on becoming that person because of the routines that I have set in place and that I'm following by. And the key to make lasting change is to make those routines and those habits a part of who we are, and making those things be part of our identity. When I'm working out every day and I'm eating well, then I feel really good in my body. I feel strong. I feel energized, all the things that I want to feel. When I prioritize my time with God above everything else every single day, then I feel that closeness with Him. I feel that connection. I feel less stressed about the day that I'm walking into. And so it's really important for us to be living that out through our routines, through our daily habits, so that when we get there, it's already a part of our lives. It's already our identities. And then we have become that person that we are working to become, as opposed to getting to a place and then having to catch up. When our routines are ineffective for who we are and for the nuances in our own individual lives, then we're in this pattern where we're doing things that don't work for us, and then we end up getting stuck and can't get to what it is that we're trying to accomplish. Somebody else's hot girl or bad whatever routine is not going to work for you because you're not them. We can definitely take aspects of those elements and see what parts will work for our lives, but we really have to individualize our routines to what our individual lives look like. When I look at somebody else and say, oh, I see they're doing this, and this, so I'm gonna do this, and this, that is probably not gonna work for you. What works for me, who is a married pastor's wife, who is a professor and a YouTuber and all of these other things, is probably not going to work for someone else who is a single mom trying to get back to school, or for a full-time working mom who has to do drop-off and pick up and all of those things, or maybe a full-time college student where that is their only job. You have to figure out what that looks like, what is reasonable for your own circumstances, and then create your routine around those things. So, how do you build a routine that works for you? First, it starts out with looking at your weekly schedule and determining what it is that you need to do, what needs to be accomplished, what are the things that you would like to do, all of those things, and then start to build your routine from there. And I say look at the whole week because what happens on a day-to-day basis oftentimes changes. I know for me, my routine on Monday looks very different than my routine on Thursday. And so I have to look at my week as a whole to see what I need to accomplish within the day and where there are things that cannot be changed, that can be changed, that can be moved around, all of those types of things. And then also, when I plan out what is happening for my week, when I know what's going on in my week and I have that in my head, I have some schedule of what is going on, it brings for me a lot more clarity and a calmness to my week, because when I don't know what's going on, I know that there are things that need to happen, but I feel very out of control. And so it is just a way to bring order back to things and just to know, first off, what is happening in the week. The next part is then figuring out your non-negotiables and then blocking off time around that to make those things happen. Non-negotiables are the things that must get done in our week. And we have two different kinds of non-negotiables. We have the fixed non-negotiables. Those are the things that they have specific times, they occur on specific days. We can't really change how those things happen. We can't really change when those things happen. They are fixed. And then we also have variable non-negotiables, which are also things that need to happen. They are things that need to get done, but they can be moved around a little bit. They don't always have to happen at the exact same time. So some examples of some fixed non-negotiables. You know that you have to commute to work and you have to go to work and be there for a specific amount of time. Maybe you have drop off and pick up for your kiddos. Maybe you have classes that you need to attend. If you go to church every Sunday, then you know what that time is as well. So for me and my schedule, I mostly have weekly fixed non-negotiables because my schedule, my work schedule changes. What time I need to be at my job on one day is not necessarily the same time I need to be at my job on another day. Church is something that happens every single week, so that is fixed. That time is just there. And then when we're thinking about our variable non-negotiables, like I said, those are the things that we need to get done. They need to be accomplished, but they can happen at different parts of the day. So working out or spending time with your significant other, spending time with yourself, working on your side hustle, all of those things are things that you can do at different times. They don't always have to happen at the exact same time, and they don't always have to happen the same amount of time. And I know that a lot of those things sound like things that you're doing for yourself, things that maybe you don't have to do or that can be pushed aside, but you have to see yourself as a non-negotiable. You have to see the priorities and the commitments to yourself as non-negotiables. And if you don't see those as non-negotiables, those things are not going to happen and you're not going to be able to take care of yourself. For me, some variable non-negotiables that I have are I do my devotion every single morning. So whether I get up at 4:30 in the morning or if I get up at 7, that is the first thing that I'm going to do. It is something that's in my schedule. Sometimes it happens for 30 minutes, sometimes it happens for 5 minutes, but it is something that is one of my non-negotiables that I know is going to happen for me every single day. My workout is a variable non-negotiable. Many times it happens in the morning, but sometimes it happens in the afternoon, and when the day is really crazy, sometimes it happens in the evening. So those are some examples of variable non-negotiables. And then you need to look at your schedule and you need to block off your time to make all of those things happen. So your fixed non-negotiables, those are going to be really easy because you're going to know exactly where they are, and then you fill in things around them. For your variable non-negotiable, you look at your day to day and you determine how much time is this thing going to take, and then put that time in. For my devotion, I usually just block off about 30 minutes for that, and even if it ends up being a little bit shorter, then I have that time blocked off anyway. It's a little bit of a puzzle, but it's a puzzle that works for you. And then the other thing that you want to look at when you're planning out your routine is your hobbies and your interests. And so those are things that are not necessarily non-negotiables, but they're things that would make your life more enjoyable. They're going to enhance your life. They don't necessarily need to happen at a regular cadence, but you want to get them in at some point during the week, some point during the month. You want to make time for that thing to be able to happen. Maybe trying some new recipes, maybe going to a new coffee shop, maybe getting in a long walk. It really could be any number of things that are hobbies, that are interests of yours that you can add to your week when you have some additional time to be able to do that. Something that I like to do is to be able to read, but I don't always have a lot of time to do that, like read for pleasure. I don't always have a lot of time to do that. So a key tip for that is some of the hobbies and interests and things that you want to do, see where you can pair them with things that are already in your schedule. So when I want to read or if I want to listen to a podcast, I'll do that when I'm working out because I can't really do anything else while I'm working out but work out. I can focus on my moves, I can focus on my walking, whatever, but I can also be listening to a book. I can also be listening to a podcast, and that fills my cup in that way where I'm able to do both things at the same time. That's actually something that's known as habit stacking, where you add habits on top of one another so that you can accomplish more, but then also so that you can do the things that you are wanting to do. As you're looking at your schedule and you're planning out your routine, you also want to think about what are some things that are time sucks. Time sucks are things that drain our energy, they drain our time, they're not vital, and we don't necessarily feel any better after doing them. That could be spending exorbitant amount of times on social media or playing games or hanging out with people that don't refill your cup, that you don't refill their cup either, and really just mindless things that don't add value to our lives. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes those things aren't time sucks. If they are things that if you just spent an hour on social media and that was how you plan to use your time and it actually made you feel better, it refilled your cup, it met some need, that's not a time suck. There are whole days when I tell my husband, I'm like, babe, I need a lay down in bed and watch Netflix all day long or watch YouTube or whatever it is that I want to do all day long. But because I have planned to do it and I know that it is something that's going to refill my cup, I don't see that as a time suck. So determine what actually is a time suck. Determine what actually is a waste of your time, a waste of your energy, a waste of your resources, and get rid of those things, or at least severely limit those things. I do have a note of caution as we are planning our routines. We have to be okay with knowing that sometimes our routines are going to change. What works for now and what works for today may not necessarily be what's going to work a month from now. Shoot, it may not even be something that works a few days later. So you have to allow for some flexibility when it's needed. Make sure that you're not doing a thing just because that's the way you do a thing. I get up routinely Monday through Friday between like 4:30 and 5:15, somewhere in there, because that is what I need to be able to accomplish all of the things that I want to accomplish for today. But if there are days when I don't need to get up that early, if all of my things are done, if I may not have meetings or whatever, I'm not just gonna get up at 4:30 because I'm a 4:30 a.m. girl. I will sleep in a little bit if that's what I need or if that's just what I want that day and I can make that happen. And so it's important to allow flexibility for that. I think people give out advice of just do this thing the same way every single day. You feel like you need to do it. If that time is not purposeful, don't add it in there. Trying to do things just because that's how we do them oftentimes can be a lot more harmful to us than it can be beneficial. So make sure that when we are doing things and putting things in our routine, make sure it is something that is adding value to your life. Once you find that it is no longer adding value to your life, it's then time to reevaluate it. Also, don't beat yourself up. If you fall off of your routine or you have some times where it's like, oh, I didn't do what I was supposed to do, just get back on the horse. There are some days, there are some weeks where I have been off my routine, where I get off of my routine and I am just in survival mode, maybe because work is really crazy or life is really crazy and I can't do things the way I plan them to go in this orderly fashion. Life doesn't work out that way all the time, so you can't beat yourself up about that. But the thing is, when you do realize, hey, I'm a little bit off track or I just need to get back on my routine, then do that. The goal of a routine is to have something in place that enhances your life, that helps you to be able to move forward and progress forward with your goals, not to beat yourself up about when you miss it a little bit. So do your best to just get back on track as soon as you can and move forward with your life. In the comments below, I need you to let me know, what is at least one thing that would happen in your perfect day? Remember, we want to start feeling the benefits and the effects of the things that we want right now. That means we have to make it part of our identity. So we're going to think about what our perfect day would look like and try to find ways to implement components of that into our daily schedule and into our routine. And of course, I will put mine in there as well. Our activities this week are really geared toward helping you to analyze what your current routine is and how to be able to tweak it to make it even better for you. Also, if you're not subscribed, what are you doing? I'm gonna need you to jump on that. Alrighty guys, I love you. I'll see you in the comments and I'll see you in my Thursday video. Mwah! Bye for now.